the book of God.
For your own soul's sake.
That's why the Bible is redundant. The Lord says things over and over because we're stiff-necked, hard-headed people. Read that.
We came together our people. We came together to our sheep in the house of Israel.
Calm down and listen to one another. And more importantly, listen to this fight.
But in this last page, the Most High is raising up the true prophets of God.
The laws of God is the light that we gotta let shine before men. Give me Revelations 1 and 14, man. So we're going to start with the building blocks. Because in order for me to love my neighbors, I love myself, I got to change my damn mind. Because if I love sleeping with my neighbor's wife, smoking crack and smoking weed, hitting the mollies, I would want that for my brother. No. I got to love my neighbors myself. I got to really know how to love myself. Let's start with the basics, man. 1 and 1.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
The revealing of Jesus Christ. Christ had to be revealed. Read.
Which God gave unto him to shew unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
Now jump down. Let's get his description.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
My brother, are you hearing what's going on? We're gonna do a compare and contrast, brother. My man. Oh, he texted. Which one of these images have white woolly hair? Right. So who was this guy? Who's this guy? Right here. Right. The Bible said Christ had white woolly hair. Read.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
Right. My brother, have you heard that before? So if I ask you, is the color of Christ important? Is the color of Christ important? Why is it important?
It's important to me because I know that that ain't Christ. I go, a black man is Christ.
Right, but what does that mean for you, my brother?
That I'm the chosen person.
Right, so as the chosen person, what are you supposed to do?
I'm supposed to do right.
Huh?
I'm supposed to do right.
According to what, though? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Because they'll tell you right is voting for them every 4 years. What is the standard that you got to do right by?
Right. I just go on the principle that my parents brought me out there.
Right, but we going to help you, my brother. We got you right here, brother. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
So now the Lord is giving you your job description. What does the Lord require of you? What's your name, my brother? I'm Matthew. What's your name?
I don't want you to put me out there like that.
You said what? Okay. So what does the Lord require, my man, with Mr. Phinehas? Read.
But to fear the Lord thy God with all, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord.
To what?
To keep the commandments of the Lord, and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
For what?
For thy good.
So the commandments of God are set up for our good. So I'm going to give you a commandment to help y'all. Give me that in 1 Corinthians 11, man. Watch this. This is the first commandment. Remember, he said the commandments are for your what? For your good. Not just your good, but the good of your community. Watch this.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, And the head of Christ is God.
So God set up a divine order. It's God, Christ, man, woman, then children. It ain't no 50-50. Everybody has a divine role to play. Read.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered.
So how do we cover our heads, my brother? What do we put on our heads to cover our head? A hat. Read.
But every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head.
So the head of the man is Christ. So when the scriptures is coming out, showing respect to Christ, who you identified as a brother, what should you do to respect Christ? Because it said every man, when the scriptures is coming out, if he got his head covered with a hat, dishonoreth his head. What should he do to show respect to Christ when the scriptures is coming out? Right. That ain't a hard thing to figure out. All praises, my brother. All praise. Clap it up for the brother. So that's the first step of repentance right there. Let's read it again for the other brother.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head.
So that's why, but read on.
Verse 5. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head.
That's why church mama always had the hat on when the scriptures was coming out. Understand that thing. So sis,
she's in an abusive relationship. The dude just rolled past. Said she's in fear. So she said she didn't want to bring no attention.
Right. We got you, sis. We got you. I'll build you up, my sister. So give me 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Watch this.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10 and verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man.
And unfortunately, it says no temptation or trouble has taken you, but such is common to man. Unfortunately, that's a common thing in our community. Not to minimize it, but to show you that we are sick. That's why we out here to give this gospel. Read.
But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape.
So sis, your way to escape is coming back and keeping the commandments of God, sis. He said he will make a way to escape. That's why you here. Give me Proverbs 20 and 24. That's why you here. Like it's no coincidence that you ran up on us on purpose. Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way?
So you didn't have any idea you was gonna run into brothers with purple on today, did you?
Right.
It said a man's going, and that's the Bible's written in massive, for that's men and women. It's goings of the Lord. How can a man understand his own way? Sis, you were brought here to hear this gospel that you are an Israelite. Understand that thing, sis. You are an Israelite. Go back to Psalms 19 and 7. Because a lot of times, just as you are in that abusive relationship, we as a people are in the same abusive relationship with the white man. The white man guns us down. He gives us fluoride in our water and lead and all that, and we still want to turn around and love him. No, that's not what the Lord is telling us to do. Read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7.
But how do we get, this is how we recognize that we're in a bad situation and what we got to do to come out of. Read that.
The law of the Lord is perfect.
The laws of the Lord are perfect.
Converting the soul.
Meaning changing the mind. Read.
The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
So that's what the Bible does. We were once simple brothers, but the Bible is giving us wisdom of God. So give me Ecclesiastes 9 and 9. Because this is what the Bible commands men to do, man. Watch this.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 9. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of thy life.
You see, it said, first of all, it said wife. There's nowhere in the Bible it's boyfriend and girlfriend, baby mama, baby dad.
Right.
The Lord ain't dealing on that level. Just think about the psychology. Yeah, that's my girlfriend. I'm calling her a girl, that's a grown woman. That's my boyfriend. That's a grown man. Just the psychology behind them words lowers your ceiling of spiritual and mental development. Read.
Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of thy life, of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in this life.
That's what the Lord told us. Go to Genesis chapter 1. I want verses 26 through 28. I think that's what I want. So this is our portion in life. This is 27 and 28. Watch this.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him.
He, him is talking about Adam. Read.
Male and female created he them.
Meaning the other nations outside of Adam. Read.
And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
So that's what the Lord commanded us to do, to live joyfully with our wives and be fruitful and multiply. That's what it's talking about, our portion. Understand that, because go back to 1 Corinthians 11. I want verse 8. I think that's what I want. And then I want the one in Galatians.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
So we all have to know our roles. As the man, I got to be the head of my house. As the head of my house, I got to live joyfully with my wife. Understanding her role is to support me so we can rebuild the nation. So these are the things that we got to learn and apply coming out of the Bible to restore our broken communities, to restore our broken minds. Because the reason why our communities are broke is what? Because our minds have been broken through what? Sin, trickery. Understand that. That's what's going on. So I want the what's that? Yeah, Ephesians 5. Watch this. We got you, man. We got you, sis. So it says, husband, love your wife. I want Ephesians 5 and 25. Watch this.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
You see that? It says that's a commandment. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Christ wasn't abusing the church. Christ wasn't exploiting the church. Christ wasn't pimping the church. Understand that thing. Read.
That ye might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
So that's what the man is supposed to do. Sanctify and cleanse the mind of his wife with the washing of the water by the word of God. Subduing that loudmouth black woman spirit that the white man has pushed on our sisters. Understand that thing. That's what the white man pushed during slavery, during the letters of Willie Lynch. He set the woman up over the man. Read.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own body.
So men ought to do what?
Love their wives as their own bodies.
So men ought to love their wives as their own body. Read it again for the sister.
So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
You see that thing? That's why I said it's, if I'm abusing my wife, that means what about what do I feel about myself? Nothing. Right, read it again.
So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
That's the thing that we out here teaching, is self-love. And that's not being taught in our communities. The Bible commanded me to live joyfully with my wife. That's what the Bible commanded me to do.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.